up so that you don't have too much of
we can cue the music.
front.
How do I get it to stick?
Press down on
And that's the climax. That's the closure.
Now the whole thing has a shape. It starts slow and then crescendo, 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 boom.
He's inventing this new kind, a new format of entertainment.
It sounds totally obvious, but this is basically like reality TV in a nutshell. Like, this is one of the first times where you have that familiar hybrid of this highly artificial and constructed situation.
It is.
But then inside of it,
Is it the time lapse?
We've all been
I don't know, the
in
red light's
situations where
blinking.
we've been frustrated, where we don't understand what's going on. Yeah. Situations where
so fun would start pushing this format,
Tweaking it, changing it.
trying out new permutations.
And sometimes it's very much like a fly on the wall. You know, there are these kind of poignant segments of listening to
Tom, it's time to get up.
a wife trying to wake up her husband.
Dropping the clock 9:50 minutes ago. All right, I am up.
Yeah, that one's kind of beautiful. To raise your back guilty. So intimate is what's so incredible.
Right.
Got a lot to do today. You're supposed to be in early.
In this one, Fun got the wife to be in on the gag.
Come on, darling. You can't keep this at home. But if you're up one time, I will listen. I'll be up. Just leave me alone. Will you get up? Mom, I think it's take it out. I don't like you talking to me that way. Not just for all I insist that you get up out of the bed. But I think you're home. Very kind of home.
So, you know, you get this beautiful backstage glimpse of everyday life, but where do we stop? And obviously it did prompt letters.
A few hisses and catcalls.
Have you heard the one where I was just listening to it the other day, where a listener writes in to complain about that one?
Yeah, that was actually really cool. Yeah, but tell us about it.
Well, so
One lady took us at our word and well chosen, but really made our ears burn.
she's writing in to complain that this was, you know, crossing the line.
So what Fun does is he goes up to her door to talk to her, but he goes with the hidden line.
I'm with the American Broadcasting Company, and I wonder if I could have just a couple of minutes of your time. Is that all right? You wrote us a letter the other day about one of our programs called the Candid Microphone, and I gathered from your letter that you don't like it very much. No, I don't. Well, what are some of the things you find objectionable about it?
Well, I don't like it because I think it's stupid. Out and out.
Out and out stupid.
That's right. In your letter, you said it a little more strongly. You said you thought we were a bunch of dirty, sneaking spies.
Well, I suppose at the time when I was listening to the program, I felt that way. You get these people in their homes and bring it. I heard that one program about what was it? You went into some man's bedroom?
Oh, you mean the one where the wife awakened the husband?
Awakened the husband, and there was the poor fellow. He didn't know he was talking for, speaking for the public. So it sort of put him in a bad light, don't you think?
Well, you may have something there, but don't you think it's funny the sounds a man makes when he awakens?
Yes, they're funny, but they're only for him, though, in his own bedroom, and I'm sure he doesn't enjoy having the whole world know about it. You?
Well,
Would you?
don't you think most people are nervous and self-conscious in front of the microphone?
Not anymore. I think most people take to a microphone very nicely.
Do you feel you talk just about the same way as you knew you were talking
Right
to a
now,
microphone right now?
yes, I would.
You see no difference whatsoever.
No difference.
Well, now look, let me show you. This is a microphone. And what you just said is ready to go out from coast to coast. Does that make any difference to you?
Can you get away?
Do you mind our coming in here and talking to you this way? Do you think we took an unfair advantage of you?
I think so at the moment.
This conversation may not be worth a nickel, but would you like to have it on the air?
Yes,
Good.
of course I would. Because I want the whole world to know of my opinion on this subject.
Oh my God, that's amazing. She just switched.
Exactly. And you can hear in her voice this weird tension, right? I have this one advisor, her name is Jill, of course. She has this idea, I'm bastardizing it, but to put it crudely, like we all kind of have Yes,
Yeah.
and it gets super interesting. That's after the break. I'm Jan. I'm Robert Philwich. Stay with us.
This is Josh LaRush calling from Los Angeles. Radiolab is supported in part by the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, enhancing public understanding of science and technology in the modern world. More information about Sloan at www.sloan.org.
Science reporting on Radiolab is supported in part by Science Sandbox, a Simons Foundation initiative dedicated to engaging everyone with the process of science.
Hi, I'm Maddie, and I'm calling from Providence, Rhode Island. Radiolab is supported by the Great Courses Plus. Make 2021 your year. Learn with purpose with the Great Courses Plus. You'll have unlimited access to enlightening, engaging, in-depth video and audio courses on hundreds of topics taught by incredible professors. And you can learn anywhere, anytime with the Great Courses Plus app. What purpose awaits you? Find out today with a free month trial. Sign up at thegreatcoursesplus.com/radiolab. Remember, thegreatcoursesplus.com/radiolab.
Hey, I'm Jan Abumrad.
I'm Robert Krulwich.
This is Radiolab. Let's get back to our story from our producer, Latif Nasser, about Alan Fudd, the man with a hidden microphone. Where we left off, he had just made a radio show called Candid Mike.
Well, so it did in fact people like this program? Was it a hit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it moves pretty quickly to television.
Candid Camp with Alan Fudd.
In the spring of 1949, the show premieres on NBC.
Welcome to the Candid Camp program.
And the show, it's the exact same premise. Set up weird or frustrating situations, try and catch people's reactions. But when the show goes out on TV,
And here's the man who stormed through.
according to Jacob Smith, it just doesn't catch on.
A lot of viewers think that it's mean-spirited, that the subjects are being somehow mistreated.
There were critics who were very unnerved and upset by it. There were people, certainly, but
What did the critics say?
oh man, I made a list here of a whole bunch of the criticisms from the 40s and 50s, and they're great. They're they're so sweeping. So okay, so there was this one guy in the New Yorker. This is in 1950, who said, and I love this. For my money, Candid Camera is sadistic, poisonous, anti-human, and sneaky. Wait, there was another kind of great string of adjectives. Let me just find it. There's so many of these. Here, another guy, different guy from the New Yorker. He found Alan Fudd coarse, nagging, suspicious, and misanthropic, and to make matters worse, zestfully so.
I feel like they'll be even more further up.
But I mean, I think that becomes kind of a PR problem that he has to fix.
And according to Jacob Smith, it was not a small problem.
No,
When it first aired, and even all through the 50s, the show
it's on and off.
doesn't really get its audience.
It moves around different networks.
And all the while,
He's tweaking it, changing it,
Interesting,
adapting
like
it.
and in the early 60s,
like peaks.
he hits on something.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be facing
A
that way.
second little
Yeah.
tweak that would make all the difference.
Fudd's term was the reveal. The reveal.
Now, he'd done it here and there, but by 1962, he locks it. You start to see this thing happen
So, like,
over
tonight,
and over at the end of segments. It's so
should
commonplace
look
now.
up a
It
YouTube
seems crazy
video
someone
of
even
the
had to invent.
geology
Classic
of
reveal
these
is,
clips.
let's say, the gag is in a diner and they're serving this guy a tiny little teacup. And he wanted a big coffee mug, and they serve him this tiny little teacup. And he's like, what? What's going on? So this guy gets pissed off. And previously, Fudd would have let that keep going. But now, right as the guy is about to blow, Fudd either walks out himself or he sends someone out, and they kind of grab the guy, and they're like, they show him the hidden camera on camera. And as he's looking at that hidden camera, and he's like, huh? The camera zooms in on his face. And Jacob Smith says that sometimes Fudd would even actually have to hold the